Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.
Hello and welcome to the Leveling Up Podcast with me, George Swift. The Leveling Up Podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development and the business growth that you, the ambitious business owner, desires. I'm here to give you the motivation, the inspiration, but as always, to challenge your aspirations to take you and your business to the next level. It's Friday and therefore it's time for another Friday 5-minute fix. They're not always 5 minutes, but they are shorter, bite-sized episodes designed to give you food for thought, to challenge your thinking, to go into the weekend, to ponder upon, and then come out on Monday all guns blazing. Today, I want to complete a theme that we've been going through all week. And in Wednesday's episode 143, we talked about the antidote to fear. And I concluded that whole episode talking about how trust is the antidote to fear. Go back and listen to those episodes if you haven't listened to them already. Today, I want to double down on the theme around trust and how trust is ultimately what sets you free from your fears, your doubts, your anxieties, your worries. It enables you to go out there in the face of rejection. It empowers you to go out there and give all you've got to life, to business, and therefore to get the results that you deserve and the results that you want. When I'm talking about trust, I often talk about the triangle of trust. So when you imagine an equilateral triangle, in each corner, you've got an item of trust, a focus of trust. In the bottom left-hand corner, you've got yourself, trusting in yourself, trusting that you will always do the best you can, trusting that even if you drop the ball one day, even if you fail on something, that you still did the best you can, that you won't allow that failure to halt you, to hold you back, to stop you from going again. You won't allow that failure to hang in the air. You'll go out, you'll make it right, you'll fix it, you'll work out a way to solve it. To have that total trust and faith in yourself gives you unbelievable power. It's like wearing armor that you take out into the world around you. It makes you impervious to other people's comments, rejections, judgments. It also makes you impervious to the fears around failure, because most of our fears around failure are not actually around the failure itself, but more about how that failure makes us feel or makes us look. And having that absolute suit of armor, which is total and utter trust and faith in ourselves, that we'll do the best we can. And even when the best we can isn't good enough, that's still good enough. It really does make you an impervious force to be reckoned with. In the bottom right-hand corner, I want you to imagine it's everybody else. It's everybody else in your life. It's everybody else on the planet, in the world. And it's having that absolute trust in your fellow man, your fellow woman, your fellow mankind, to know that even when they drop the ball, even when they're not living up to your expectations, they're still doing the best they can given what they've gone through in their own life. This includes, potentially your enemies. This includes people who we might deem as not being good people or not being people who serve the community of mankind. These could be criminals. These could be, the worst of humankind. And it's just trusting that even when people behave in the worst possible ways, that they are still doing so based on their own circumstances, their own life experiences, their own limited life experiences that must create such suffering in them and pain in them. And the compassion that having that trust and faith in our fellow man has enables us to not judge other people and therefore to also set ourselves free from the fear of our own judgment. This doesn't mean that I'm going to leave my car unlocked or my front door open. It doesn't mean I'm going to leave my wallet on the side of the road or my phone out on the driveway. It doesn't mean that, people don't do bad things to other people. It doesn't mean that people don't behave badly, poorly, despicably sometimes to each other. It's just that inherent trust in that generic concept of our fellow human being. And when we put that trust out there in other people, most people, the majority of people, at 99+% of people, will repay that trust by being trustworthy. And I want you to imagine the peak of this equilateral triangle. At the top of that, you've got the universe, the world, nature, something bigger than yourself. If you're a religious person, it might be your God. If you're a scientist, it might be in the nature of the universe, in the nature of life. And it's trusting in something bigger than ourselves, trusting in something that we are a part of, trusting that we are nurtured, whether that's Mother Nature, whether that's your God, your deity, whether that's in your sense of just the universal energy, or whether it is as simple as just nature and science, and knowing that we are part of something bigger, that we are part of the jigsaw puzzle that makes up the tapestry of life, the universe, the world around us, and knowing that ultimately, fundamentally, whilst things can happen to us, bad things can happen to us, that ultimately that we are safe, we are taken care of. And as I said in last episode, there is no greater gift than you can give yourself, that you can give yourself at an unconscious level than that of the perception of being safe. When we perceive ourselves as being safe, we don't need fear, anxiety, worry. We don't need the doubts. What we get to do is we get to exist in possibility and opportunity. We get to exist in all of the positive experiences of life, and we minimize the negative emotional impacts that we have, things that hold us back, that make us feel worse about ourselves, but also just give us a worse experience of life. Fear, anxiety, worry, the fear of judgment, the fear of not being good enough, all these things that play into us ultimately underperforming as human beings, but also giving us a less than desirable experience of life around us. If you can develop this equilateral triangle, many people, they might trust in themselves, but they might not trust in other people. Some people, they trust in other people. They trust in something bigger than themselves, but they find it really hard to trust in themselves. And I get it. Other people may trust in themselves. They may trust in their fellow man, but they don't trust. They've lost their faith, if you like, with their religion or their God or their concepts of the bigger picture that they are a part of. And I get it. When trust is broken, it can take a long time to rebuild that trust, to heal those hurts. But fundamentally, what's the alternative? Is it to distrust ourselves, distrust our fellow human beings, to distrust the laws of nature, to distrust your God or your spirituality, to distrust the universe at large, whatever that might be for you, whatever your interpretation of that is? That isn't a life worth living. It isn't one that gives us that sense of security and safety that we need in order to live a truly fulfilling and successful life. Develop that triangle. If you're strong in some corners but weaker in others, to explore those areas of weaknesses and look at where that trust has been broken or where you haven't developed that trust, and look at how you can rebuild that trust, how you can grow that trust, and understand that in doing so, you will give yourself a wonderful experience of life that might not be available to you right now, and a sense of freedom that enables you to truly go out in all your greatness and to fully commit to life, to fully commit to your business, your objectives, your future, and to create something truly amazing with that life and in this world. Have an awesome weekend. I really look forward to seeing you next week. We'll do it all over again. If you find yourself at loose end and you haven't yet done the 6-figure fast track, get yourself on that completely free of charge. It's a masterclass webinar on how to take your 5-figure service-based business to 100 grand or more turnover in the next 12 months or even less. You can find that at biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk/fast track. I'll drop the link in the description below. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Till then, as always, be successful.
Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.